in your presentation a couple of days ago, you kind of, well, right now your comments were mainly on, that more of the higher end kind of work can move over to India, and it's not necessarily just coding. But in the presentation a couple of days ago, it seemed like most of the activities that you're focusing on is really just testing and development. Could you give some highlights around, some high value added work that you're looking to move to India? And also maybe some anecdotal feedback from clients when you're pushing this kind of high-end work.
Okay, I'll just take a few more points. Yes, at the right, there.
Hi, I'm Prasad Nanakar representing Virtusa from Colombo, Sri Lanka. My question is, in year 2000 in a presentation made by a gentleman from Europe, I think he was based in Netherlands at that time, he said that there was a preference to outsource to more of the emerging Eastern European countries. He said, particularly due to the close proximity and this relationship where you can actually go and visit these teams and see them in person, there was a preference like that at that time. Is there a truth to it at this stage? Has that, has that situation changed?
Okay. There's a hand. Yes, gentleman standing there. Can you, just one moment.
I'm Shrikant. I work for an Indo-Italian software joint venture. I want to check whether this movement that we are talking about of doing work in Europe or work moving down here to India, is it based on the cost paradigm, like what most people seem to be talking about, or is it supposed to be really based on productivity? Because how long will the cost paradigm sustain in terms of the cost of operating or using people from India?
Okay. Yes, there's someone sitting. Yes.
My name is Venki Chinapragada. I'm from Keen. My question is, all the panelists have said that localization and front-ending is very important for EU operations. I really want to know, what is the resource technical pool available in the local markets that can really serve that, and what is the pressure on the margins of having a large local technical folks working on those accounts?
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Usha. I'm from TCS. I would like to have the panel's view on whether there is a trend in terms of deal sizes in the Europe, and whether there is a significant difference in the deal size depending on which part of Europe we are talking about, continental, central, or Eastern Europe.
Okay. At the back.
Hi, I am Ranjit Shinde from Economic Times Intelligence Group. My first question is, what kind of impact this initiative will have on offshoring story of Indian IT companies? Will it dilute this offshoring or will it strengthen it? And the second question is, what kind of service lines Indian IT companies look for when they get into the European market? Thank you.
Okay, we'll address the Lehman Brothers question to you in a minute. Stefan, can I bring you in here? The broader question about East Europe versus Western Europe, the gentleman from Sri Lanka, and also the gentleman from the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce. It was a broader question on what kind of work is coming here, both either East Europe and...
Generally speaking, about this whole nearshoring issue in Eastern Europe, I think a lot of companies will increase their presence in Eastern Europe, and one of them, T-Systems, for example, looks very actively at India versus Eastern Europe, and many others are doing that. Obviously, when your parent, like in the T-Systems case, is a telecom that is very invested in Eastern Europe, then this comes more natural than for others, but still, I would say anyone who is active in the space and wants to develop a regional or even better a global delivery machine will need Eastern European destinations. And I think the interesting part of that is that it will also transform and that's something that Bernard touched on, it will transform those countries. Because if you take a country like Poland, it's not a small country if you take the economy as a whole. Now, if you have a lot of outsourced services in Poland, you will probably have a faster outsourcing development from Polish companies, because there you don't have the cultural problem anymore. It's their own people that are doing these services than you may have in, say, Germany or France. So I think there's a double effect in this nearshoring as far as Eastern Europe is concerned, and I believe this is certainly will be growing.
Okay, ticket size and value of deals. Subhash, do you want to touch upon that? I mean, what's your own experience? Do you see ticket sizes, deal sizes going up, also on the high versus low value, in your experience?
Well, being a product company, we are in a slightly different situation as against services companies. What we do see is that, yes, the value of the contracts, the values rather, are definitely going up. One of the things that we're noticing is that, as a product company, initially when there was an issue with regard to acceptance, I mean, when we used to go in as an Indian company initially, the thing was, okay, this is, this is a country which just works on cost arbitrage. I mean, so we as a product company actually had to go against that trend. I mean, it was, we had to first change. We were starting from not zero, but negative base, where people had this view, and change that. And once that has happened, I mean, what we see is, yes, people are willing to give us large contracts. We've got, for example, I wouldn't like to give the name of the customer because this is not public information. We've got some fairly long-term, like 3-4 year contracts, which runs into, many tens of millions of dollars. I mean, such contracts are now coming our way as a product company even. So this is very interesting. Whereas there was a time when getting a $500,000 contract was really unthinkable. Let's say. I mean, so that is definitely changing.
In continental Europe.
Yeah. This is continental Europe. I mean, it's not UK. It is continental Europe.
Okay. Sudeep, the same question to you. I mean, your own experience in the value chain.
Well, the deal sizes going up or the deal sizes becoming smaller is a question of the glass being half empty or half. And do a 15% growth rate over the next 15 years till 2020, let's say, or 2022. And then do a same 3 to 4% increase on the European salaries. The arbitrage is less, but it still remains. But the important point is the arbitrage is no longer a differentiator. Because by that time, 2020 or 2015, all of the companies, Atos Origin, Capgemini, Accenture, IBM, Global Services, all will probably have upwards of 100,000 people in India, and they can give the same services. So arbitrage is there, so it's not a differentiator. So what drives you is other things. The value you deliver, the relationship you have, the innovation you add to your offering, that becomes more critical for going forward.
Okay, Bernard, the question to you. What exactly would you be looking at when you outsource to India? What are the kind of lines of business or the areas of activity that you will push your clients to bring here?
Well, up until now, it was mostly software development and application management, and I think it was important. 2 years ago, we took an important contract with a French company, Renault, where we are managing all the application software worldwide. And now, progressively, a good part of the work is being done in India, which was not easy at the beginning because of language barriers, and to find French capabilities in India is not that easy, as you know. But I think I look at India with a great potential in areas in what I call non-traditional areas, like, for example, payment processing, and so the financial sector is clearly a sector in which we need to use India more, and this business is a high-margin business for us because it is based on a business model. It's transaction-based. And more, I think it's a business that we would like to develop. Another area of great interest to us is healthcare, and we'll need to launch research and development, and a lot of that probably will be in India in the future. So I would name those two areas as examples, and I really believe that healthcare in the next 10-20 years will be driving growth into the IT sector.